Indigenous technology is often misunderstood, but it can be part of everyday life. This is by Andrew Peters on The Conversation. Now, when we think back about 100 years or so, before electricity, when our mothers and grandmothers used to make not only their jams, but also their soaps. Not only soap, but also, even gunpowder from the ash and things. You can use ash for a lot of things, soap, for example. And how do they clean their drinking water? Where not to drink water, or what water? How do you clean your water? Now, things that our grandmothers knew how to take care of every day, we have no knowledge of. Now, the pandemic highlighted our need for connection and forced billions of people to adapt and in a changing world. Much of its adaptation is heavily reliant on technology, and in particular information technology, which is being used to keep many people connected, of course. Although the pandemic is posing many problems for our modern technological world, it also presents an opportunity to embrace ancient and valuable indigenous knowledge and identify potential within them in different ways. Now, I recently found out the word salary means salt. We are the salt of the earth, as written in the Holy Bible. The Roman soldiers used to get paid in salt. Why is that? Because it was used for preserving food, cleansing and preserving food. Now, salt meat, salt fish, besides the fact that the meat or fish could be, for example, smoked. Now, going back to this, the history of indigenous technology. Indigenous technology is a relatively misunderstood phenomenon. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box. This is not the use of technology by or for the benefit of Indigenous peoples. It refers to the multiple ways that Indigenous knowledges are used to improve the lives of humans, ancient practices that have existed in various parts of the world that are still relevant and prevalent today. Indigenous knowledges and technology have been linked from the beginning of time. Fundamental concepts of indigenous knowledges can and should underpin the development and role of technology in multiple ways. Now, my thought here is this, okay? I went to elementary school in Canada, and from the 3rd grade, we were taught, I still have my initial home class cookbooks, how to boil an egg, how to make butter biscuits, and half the year we would sew, half the year we would cook. The boys had metal work and metal shop and carpentry. But we should also have been taught how to clean water, how to preserve food, how to refrigerate food. Some people used to have, in the old times, they had an underground cellar. Now, going back to this, Indigenous knowledges and technology have been linked from the beginning of time. Fundamental concepts of Indigenous knowledges can and should underpin the development and role of technology in multiple ways. And these concepts include relationality and connection, reciprocity, reflexivity, country. The rationality connection refers to the Indigenous understanding of all things being connected. One action can impact many others, similar to the fundamental Western scientific concept of cause and effect. Embracing and understanding reciprocity ensures the benefits of use of technology don't come at the expense of others, including people, plants, animals, and the broader environment. Reflexivity involves a constant cycle of learning and listening that underpins knowledge, creation, and transfer of the Indigenous people and cultures. It's also seen as an important element of research and development in the world of technology, particularly relevant now as we are developing ways to treat COVID. And country refers to the grounding of knowledges in our land and all it contains. Our knowledges and languages come from the land, and this is where they belong. This makes our knowledges contextual and specific to a certain group, and understanding the specifics of a certain group is crucial to gaining cultural knowledge. In the world of business technology, this relates to knowing and understanding your market and their specific wants and needs, a fundamental principle of marketing. Native foods and food technology, very important thing, of course. Native food and food technology have sustained indigenous communities all over the world for thousands of years. Today, native foods are used in a variety of ways, including connecting people with culture through culinary experiences such as the Tasmanian Wave to Plate project. In Southeast Australia, the Wurundjeri people's names comes from the witchetty grub found in the manna gum, which is rich in vitamin C and good for skin wounds. Wurundjeri people still use plants such as the manna gum, the eucalyptus, which is very good for a cold, for example, to smell, the eucalyptus. It's in Vicks Vapor Rub. Mornong and tea tree melaleuca for both nutritional and medical purposes. Native groups in North America have practiced plant-based medicinal practices for thousands of years and continue to this day. This includes direct consumption of plant parts, using them as ointments, and boiling them as part of tea drinks. Some groups also use conifer needles to create tonics rich in vitamin C for treating diseases. Agriculture and aquaculture. Thousands of years ago, the Gunti Mara people of Budi Bim in Western Victoria modified natural features and created a series of artificial ponds, wetlands, and networks for channels. These practices allowed waters to flow between dams to accommodate the farming of eels. The Gunti Mara people also built substantial stone structures close to work sites to shelter from chilly southerly winds that can still be seen in various parts of Western Victoria today. Fire management. Indigenous culture, burning, and fire management is another ancient practice that lives on today, and these practices are increasingly used as tools for national park management, emergency services, and other organizations to better understand our native environment and connect with Aboriginal cultures, peoples, and histories. Astronomy and geology. Traditional indigenous storytelling has enabled modern-day scientists to discover meteorites they may not otherwise have found. And in New Zealand, geologists are continuing to use Maori tradition to better understand earthquakes and tsunamis. Health and well-being. Concepts of indigenous and Western health and medicine have long differed. Western health has primarily focused on problem correction and the patient's physiology, whereas for indigenous people, health and well-being have long included physical, mental, spiritual, and environmental issues for both individuals and communities that what Western health now calls holistic care. Transport. Indigenous people have found innumerable ways to physically navigate their country, including with the bark canoe, a symbol of transport technology. Using the bark from an appropriate tree, the process today revisits ancient traditions and provides direct cultural connection for many young Aboriginal people. The prevalence of scar trees in many parts of the country shows just how widespread this practice still is. And these continued uses of Indigenous technology are an affirmation of culture and history for Aboriginal peoples. It also is a clear way for all Australians to connect with a culture that not only has a deep, deep history on our land, but continues and is still growing today. And this is by The Conversation. Creative Commons here on phys.org. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support.